Okay, how's everyone doing today? How are you guys doing? A bit of a late stream, sorry, of course, but just, just been at work. Um, doo-doo-doo-doo. Yeah, I mean, like, what can we? Yeah, I mean, I can't captain Mbappe either, but I still think it's perfectly decent play to end up with the team like the one that I have right now. I mean, I certainly wouldn't be complaining if that was the kind of team that I ended up with. Let's just say that. What kind of transfers are you guys cooking up with right now? I mean, I like Teo Hernandez, but I just think I'm not 100% sure if he's going to play, 3 games in a row. But maybe it's the case that he plays 2 games, then Luka Dean plays match day 3. So it could be the case that Teo Hernandez is fine, or Teo Hernandez. I would definitely sell Ferran Torres over Oyarzabal. I don't really mind that I can't captain Mbappe because at the end of the day, I've got so many captains to go through. I mean, if I just look by fixture, right? I've got Crepeau first, so that's one captain. Then I've got a Brazil captain in Vinny, so that's 2. I then have a German captain, so that's 3. We then have a Spain captain, so 4. We still have Elise technically with France. That's 5. I don't even know if I would actually captain Sane, but yeah. I mean, we'd obviously have Ecuador as well, so Ener Valencia, so that's 6. Bruno, 7. And I think I mean, Sanchez, I guess, technically as a final captain. So that's 7 to 8 captaincies to go through, which, I mean, kind of hard to believe that all of them would flop. Yeboah is definitely a decent pick. Did he not get subbed off a little bit earlier though, as well within the last match that Ecuador played, or am I hallucinating? Yeboah. Yeah, Yeboah came off at 62 minutes, so I actually don't think he's a particularly great pick. Just because you can't really guarantee like great minutes with him. So I'm not sure if it's like an amazing differential. But as a midfielder, of course, like he's kind of well priced, right, to be a good punt, just because it's Curacao anyways. Hopefully that makes sense. Keep Verts or Sane. I probably would keep. I think the safer play would be to keep Verts. I don't think there's a massive difference between the two though, just because of scouting bonus. The one SWFC. Here he is, new to the World Cup Fantasy. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that, bro. I'm doing good, Lamby. Nice to see you, my friend. Would I do Holland to Messi -3? I don't think it's worth a -3 personally. Can you look at Discord? Got 3 options. Don't know if taking hits is good or not. I think taking 1 hit is fine. I kind of doubt anyone should be taking more than 1 hit, to be honest, if they kind of reasonably prepared their first team. I'll have a look at your options now, though. So you've got Holland / Havertz to Valencia Mbappe, 12-man Vinny. That's nice. I was considering that, obviously, myself. Well, I think that was actually my team selection, right? Holland, Havertz, Vasquez to Valencia, Mbappe, Hernandez. No, that's definitely not worth a -3. Haaland, Havertz, Kimmich, Wirtz to Valencia, Mbappe, Vinny, Hernandez. That's also not really worth a -6. I mean, 12-man Kane is nice. I just don't know. I just don't know. I'd be so down on Germany per se, if that makes sense. End of the day, like Germany kind of have like what 2 expected goals versus Ivory Coast. So if you sell all your German players for hits, it's kind of a massive punt, right? You like for example, if you think about it from an FPL point of view, you'd never really do that with you'd never really do that even for a -3. I mean, a 2-goal game is still really good. Like I think that's a top 8 projected game. England's projected goals, I'm sure, will actually rise after that latest performance versus Croatia, but then I don't know. It's kind of hard to like. It's hard to sanction. I think going that aggressive. I actually prefer. I like the -6 more so than the -3. So I'd probably be between those, but I just don't really see a reason to take a hit. I know we've had like very explosive hauls from some of the talisman like Kane and Mbappe, but at the end of the day, like if they keep up this pace, like all of these players, like what 2 goals per game, I mean, everyone is going to be breaking World Cup records, right? So we kind of need to temper our expectations a little bit as well, in my opinion. Because it's not like the floor of all these players is a brace, right? So I think we just need to temper expectations a little bit there. Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, what we expect Kane, Mbappe, Messi to all probably advance into round of 8. So if they do that, if you set the expectation of, oh, I want to take hits for all of these players, you're basically saying, okay, they're good for a brace every game. Notwithstanding that some of your players that you're selling are probably also very, very good. So, yeah, I mean, if they all scored braces up until the end of that, I mean, we would, yeah, the World Cup goal scoring record would absolutely crumble. And I'm sure Messi and Mbappe will break it. But I think the kind of rate at which we're looking at transfers out is probably a little bit too aggressive. I think Cunha could very likely start, unfortunately, because the Igor Thiago performance was quite poor, and it does seem like Ancelotti prefers Cunha to, let's say, Endrick. Who would you keep out of I've actually answered that question. Any Rafinha news? I mean, apparently he's been training with blisters on his foot, and Brazil don't actually play until a little bit later. So I feel like there's probably not a need to overreact that massively towards Rafinha. I mean, Rafinha will play on Saturday, so he's got still a couple days, right? He's got until, I mean, he's got technically what 2 days, I suppose, to rest a bit more. And he didn't train, I guess, the day previous, so I think he's fine for the most part. Have I locked in transfers? I have. I did fix my transfers. Did you see for a few minutes Ecuador CS on FPL Joe's webpage went up to 81%? I did not see that. Would you take a hit for Vidi? Would mean selling Wirtz or Luis Diaz? I would consider Wirtz to Vini. I probably wouldn't do Luis Diaz out personally. I think he's a little bit better than Wirtz on paper. You've done Valencia for Oyarzabal. Fair enough. Can you change captain in between games? Yeah, you can. So, for example, I changed my captain from Olise to Haaland, which was 1 hour between each other, and I was able to do that. You just need to make sure that you wait a little bit, like 5 to 10 minutes after the game is finished, and then the website will kind of refresh, and you'll be able to do that. Lots of hits though, -12s, -3s. Would I sell Rocher for a -3? I probably would, if I'm honest, my friend. Unfortunately, a non-playing goalkeeper is probably worth covering, and clean sheet points are actually really good. Plus scouting. I mean, you'll know what scouting bonus goalkeepers we have, right? Luis Diaz to Vinny for a -3. I probably wouldn't do that for a -3. I would certainly do it for a free transfer. Keep Havertz or Oyarzabal. I think that I'd probably keep Havertz just because he's got full pen share. Brian Fox, thank you so much for the super chat. I think World Cup is getting more competitive. Predictions are biased on top teams. I mean, they're biased, I think, for a reason. Like, in a way, for example, like you look at France versus Senegal as a good example, in my opinion, or England versus Croatia. Like, yes, of course, those were 2-goal deficit games, but it really is just like sometimes a lot of the top teams do have that kind of individual quality gap versus some of the teams that have really pushed those teams hard. Like, Croatia was, drawn until halftime. The French team were probably the second best team in the first half versus Senegal. But I do think that kind of top echelon, like talisman type level players from these teams are like warrant the kind of massive lopsided odds. At the same time, I mean, you look at this week, it's not like, for example, like I wouldn't say Ecuador is a big team, but they're projected to be like number 2 in projected goals, number 1 on projected clean sheets. And that's simply because there's also an element of some of the bottom teams are looked at very, not fondly. So I think there's an element of that. I do wonder if we're over-indexing the amount of goals in the tournament, it seems like, because obviously, like what we had, I mean, Germany was obviously proof of why you should kind of target big teams still. But I know, yeah, there were a couple of flops. I mean, if I think about round 1, honestly, if I review the results, right, well, let's do that quickly on the stream myself. I mean, I'll kind of go through how I feel about every single match, just from my memory. Mexico, South Africa, I think that was fully deserved as a result. South Africa were awful. So I think it's like if you were playing, if you've got Czechia players for South Africa, you'd be happy, right? Korea, Czechia. I mean, the way I feel about that is Korea probably surprised people a little bit, which is also, I think, why, in consequence, the Mexican clean sheet odds have actually dropped. And the Mexican expected goals, I think, have dropped as well, because Korea were actually a little bit more impressive than people thought. So that's that kind of competitiveness from different teams that we're talking about. With Canada, I think they kind of just wasted their chances. They really should have beat Bosnia. USA, Paraguay kind of demolished Paraguay. So I think USA were definitely under-indexed. So that's a team, arguably a team that's underrated right now. Qatar, Switzerland was a 1-1. But, if you watch the game, I think Switzerland could have easily scored 3-4 goals. I think their XG was like, 3.2? My memory of the game was, I think Vargas should have scored. Ndoye had 2 great chances, but could not even come close to shooting. You take those opportunities again, you probably have Switzerland winning quite conclusively. And then, of course, Qatar score in the end of the game with an amazing chance. With Brazil, Morocco, I mean, I think Brazil should have lost that game straight up. Morocco pretty much demolished them in the first half, but then Vinny, super goal. Scotland, Haiti, I thought Scotland were very poor. I think Haiti should have scored as well. Australia, Turkey. That was probably a close-ish game, but I think game state, was deserved in terms of Australia. Like they did well in terms of what they had to do. So no real complaints, but I think that group now suddenly looks a little bit more competitive than we previously thought. So USA, Australia, an interesting game to kind of think about where your feelings are at. Like, is it actually both USA and Australia have kind of peaked expectations, or vice versa? Curacao, I think people now think they're worse than we previously thought. With Germany, that's a big nation that we probably thought were not as good as we thought, and now I think a lot of like markets and even people are looking at them as more serious contenders. I actually had them as kind of the favorites to beat France in my World Cup predictions video, so I was actually quite high on Germany, so we'll see what happens there. Netherlands, Japan, I think Japan were a bit lucky to draw that game, but they show that they've got a lot of routes towards goals, and I think that's a positive there. Ivory Coast, Ecuador. I thought Ivory Coast were amazing, and I thought Ecuador were really poor. In fact, I think continentally speaking, the African teams have really surprised me. They've done really well. The South American teams outside of Argentina have not impressed me at all. So, yeah, Ivory Coast, super impressive. Sweden, Tunisia, I mean, that's okay, fine. That's probably one. That's probably one African country that, alongside Algeria, have not impressed me. So that was a great Swedish performance. Spain, obviously, let's be honest. I mean, I don't even want to talk about it. It was just a poor performance from Spain. But once again, like, we missed the chances. So I think Spain's predicted goals that game were 3. Their XG was only around 2. So it kind of suggests that Spain underperformed massively against expectations, which is a problem. Egypt, I think, were quite shocking versus Belgium. They were very good. Salah Central looked quite nice, so I think I'd be pretty high on Salah going forwards, even though he got subbed off a little bit earlier. Saudi Arabia, Uruguay, I think a bit unfortunate for Uruguay, but once again, it's like they just don't seem to have that much firepower. So for context, I think Uruguay and Spain were predicted something like 2+ goals for Uruguay, and Spain around 3 goals for versus Cape Verde. And the outcome of that, I think, is we think Cape Verde's a better defense. Spain didn't look quite good without Yamal, expected, but much worse than anticipated anyways. And then Uruguay, same thing there. So I don't think that's necessarily meaning that Saudi Arabia or Cabo Verde are good. It's just that probably a bad day in the office for Spain, if I'm honest. And then Uruguay, a bit concerning that, for example, someone like Darwin, who's kind of pegged on as their starting striker, dropped a stinker and got hooked at halftime, which that has not happened to anyone. Although we've seen some early substitutions, right? Like, for example, Son had an early sub. Jonathan David had an early sub as well. Iran, New Zealand. I mean, I think New Zealand were actually kind of shocking that game. Like, in terms of, I think I actually expected them to lose, but Iran still, did well, I guess, to score. But yeah, I mean, interesting routes towards goals for New Zealand. They kind of have 2 key players, and they've done well. That group is super wide open. France, Senegal. I mean, that's literally just a game where when people turn up in the second half, you can't really stop them, right? Mbappe, Olise, etc. Even Barcola as a substitute, so the French depth definitely came in hot. Iraq actually looked pretty competitive on the attacking side. I think Norway definitely I would not like as a defense, but yeah, I mean, their offense has Haaland in it, so that's pretty much it. Argentina, I mean, it's literally just Messi. Austria, I think that was a very comprehensive win. Some good goals from Austria as well. But once again, like, Jordan scoring is interesting. I thought Congo were straight up better than Portugal. I mean, if you look at the Spain game, I'm not biased, but I think we deserved to win versus Cabo Verde, but we didn't create enough chances. And of course, the gap in quality before that game was not the same perceived gap in quality between Portugal and Congo. But I do think Congo straight up played better football than Portugal, probably created more chances. That's my personal opinion. I mean, Portugal literally had an XG of 0.6, which is abysmal. England, I think, demolished Croatia. I think England are extremely scary. So, yeah, I think anyone going Harry Kane, I can understand that too. Especially 12-man Harry Kane if you already have Mbappe in your team. Ghana, Panama, that was a bit hard to stay up for that game, but I think that there was like barely any chances, and then Ghana scored in the dying stages of that game. So I don't really even know what to say about that. I think Ghana are the lower rated country, and then Panama are the higher rated country. I think they're like 30th in the world or something like that. But FIFA rankings don't really mean anything. I think Ghana were generally better in that game, and then just managed to kind of sneak in that win. Colombia, I don't think they created as many chances as they scored, right? So they scored 3 goals, but Lucho, this is a good indication of, like, you still have some key players who are like difference makers, right? So for example, like, Uzbekistan's best player is Kusanov. Colombia's best player is Luis Diaz, who is basically a top flight winger who plays in the big 5 leagues. So like a top 5 winger in the world even. So it kind of shows you, like, sometimes that level of player versus a much weaker team on paper can do really well. Now, I do think Congo looks super impressive. So I kind of think on the flip side, Portugal, Uzbekistan, Portugal will probably do well. Colombia versus Congo, I'm not even sure who's going to win in that game. So that's kind of my takeaways in terms of, if you wanted my reviews for the week, like, I think that's how I feel about it. Like, I think teams like Germany, England, France impressed us. And then all the other big nations were not that impressive. Messi proved that he's still Messi, which I thought was going to be the case. I don't know if you saw my tweet when I watched Messi versus Iceland in the friendly. Still looked incredible. And as you guys know, I've not been super high on Ronaldo on my cheat sheets. So yeah, that's kind of my summary of stuff. I hope that kind of just generally helps with, like, I mean, the odds change so much, right? So I talked about the changes in the odds in terms of projected goals and clean sheets. We'll talk about that. I know I've probably ignored some super chats. I'm sorry, but I just want to kind of get my thoughts out. But before even Portugal and England played, so the biggest shifts was, of course, like the reaction to Tunisia. So, of course, Japan's odds have shot up. Morocco performance versus Brazil was incredible, so their odds have shot up. I think part of that is that Scotland didn't play very well versus Haiti. Ecuador's odds have shot up because I don't think Ecuador even played well versus Ivory Coast. It's just showing that Curacao, I think, is a little bit more negatively rated compared to the rest of the field. And then, France looked great. I'm sure England and Portugal have moved in the exact opposite directions. England, probably their projected goals have shot up, and I have to imagine that Portugal's projected goals have shot down. But yeah, that's kind of my takeaway for the week. Let's just jump into. I will now respond to live stream chat. So of course, Biredes, thank you so much for the lives for the super chat. Need 5.3 mid. Somerville, Ayari, Yaboa. I kind of think that Somerville's probably one of the better picks in the midfield position for that. It's a bit of a shame that you can't go Nakamura. But yeah, maybe Somerville could make sense. It's kind of tough though. I do think Netherlands, Sweden is going to have a lot of goals. Yeah, maybe Somerville's the one. Because my only concern with Yeboah is, as I said, if he gets subbed off at 60 minutes again, and let me kind of have a look at his minutes record in previous matches, because I haven't really put too much attention into him. But yeah, so his average minutes for the national team are not perfect. I certainly would not really want to move into Yeboah as a pick. I think I would definitely ignore him. So I would go Somerville. I think Ayari, that to me is massive overperformance. So I would go Somerville. Chris C, thank you so much for your super chat. Selling Jonathan David in a 7.8 mil. Do you really want to sell Jonathan David though? I mean, he really is playing Qatar at the end of the day. I feel like the manager has pretty much backed him to start versus Qatar. So I think it's a pretty big risk to take Jonathan David out. I would actually keep him in my team. I know his performance versus Bosnia was not good, but I would personally keep him. If you really do want to sell him though, if you must, I mean, I can't really see any reason why you wouldn't want to just go enter Valencia, I guess. You could also go Ueda from Japan. That's a good way to kind of target a really good fixture, but I personally think I would keep David. But thank you so much for the super chat. The football space. Thank you, Mal. Anything in Raf, Vinny switch and use 12th on Kane? If you have that sort of luxury of being able to move Rafinha to Vinny, then I think, yeah, I would probably do it. I'm kind of gambling here, hoping that Rafinha will play, but it's like at the same time, I don't think Carlo Ancelotti is that reactive as a manager. I think Rafinha is also such a big player. Carlo's the type of manager, in my opinion, who tends to sort of play those players, and I think he kind of does respect the overall quality that Rafinha has. So is it really worth the transfer of Rafinha to Vinny? Probably not, but at the end of the day, if you can afford that luxury transfer because the rest of your team is in a perfect place, like if you've already got Mbappe, if you've already got Messi in your team, you know, you're more than free to do it. I think that's a decent transfer. And then Kane, of course, yeah, great 12 man. But you do also lose out on Kane captaincy, right? Check my last chat log for context if you can. Absolutely. Your team's the same as the one you sent last week. Now likely to do Haaland and Manzambi into Valencia and Vinny. No, I get that. I mean, if you want to go Mbappe, I think I don't really mind you going for... Yeah, I mean, like Valencia, I don't think is not that essential as a pick. So what you're basically suggesting to me that you go Rafinha or like, can you go Vinny Mbappe or how does that work for you? Or is that even a -3? If you had to trade one, Xhaka or João Neves, I probably would trade Granit Xhaka out if you really must. Yamal, I think, will start, but I'm not really sure his minutes will be perfect. I can quickly have a look at some Spanish newspaper articles to kind of see if Yamal is predicted to start versus Saudi. I am on wildcard 3 politics. What's a good defender for 4.1 million? Thomas Araujo. Why not potentially keep him? I mean, he's got a really good matchup, but if you must, I think Ordonez is probably one of the good picks. A Canadian center back is also a really good pick as well, or even a fullback that you want to pick. Why 12-man Mbappe? I do want to captain him, but at the end of the day, you've got 7 to 8 captaincies. I don't really care enough. I don't think Valencia is a terrible pick. I kind of disagree with that. He's still playing Curaçao. I do think Manzambi starts, yeah, but I think it's a pretty big risk. Like for me, I think it was worthwhile to kind of get to Vinny and Mbappe by doing that. Bruno G, I think, is a solid pick, but probably not the best way to target Brazil. I do think, I personally do think Yamal is going to start. I think he'll probably only play 60 to 70 minutes, and I think that's it. I can't really see him playing 90 minutes. Who has the easiest upcoming fixtures? What do you mean, like Matchday 2, Matchday 3, or just Matchday 2? No Rafinha, then Ryan comes in and holds. Yeah, I mean, of course, if Rafinha doesn't play, then Ryan will play. Yep. Kane or Lamine as 12th. Have Mbappe, Vinny, Messi. I'd probably go Kane over Lamine for the 12th man, just because I think I can trust Kane's minutes a lot more. Love the team though. What transfers have I made? I've basically done Ener Valencia from Holland, and then I've done Vinny Jr. from Mamdani. Sorry, Manzambi. Keep thinking about Mamdani for no reason. Will Douglas Santos start for Brazil? Why am I sticking with Rafinha? I mean, it's not even guaranteed that he's benched, and I don't really want to sell someone who's going to play versus Haiti. There's no real confirmed news about Rafinha and whether he's going to start. I mean, we still have 2 days. He probably will get, like, overcome whatever blisters he has, and he should be fine, hopefully. Yep. New York City Mayor was indeed in my lineup right after the parade. You sold Oyarzabal and Wirtz. That makes sense. I mean, I still think Oyarzabal is a decent pick. Yamal to Lise for a -3. I don't think that's worth the -3 at all. You can't undo transfer. There's nothing wrong with Manzambi as a pick. Farbar Milker, rank these, give me 2 only. Mbappe, Kane, Vinicius, Yamal. I probably would have Mbappe 1, Vinny 2, Kane 3, Yamal 4. Verts or Diaz? I prefer Diaz. Looking at the reader numbers, club 11 plus 4, 0 owned and playing behind Schick. Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know if Czech Republic are that impressive in open play. I know it's South Africa, but yeah. Hey, bro, hope you're doing well, doctor. What's the best 4.5 male or lower defender for Matchday 2? I still think it's Ordonez. Still think it's Ordonez. Just based on the clean sheet odds alone. Varela is actually a decent pick as well from Uruguay, if you want to kind of target. Because, I mean, I don't think Cape Verde are very, like, I mean, attackingly interesting, right? So, yeah. Are these locked in? Yep, I'm locked in. Basically, it goes down to Rafinha, Valencia, and Kane and Manzambi. Yeah, no, I think then I would just go Rafinha and Valencia, personally. Do you think Teo's nailed for Matchday 2? I'm not really sure what Deschamps is going to do. I mean, I think he's either resting in Matchday 2 or Matchday 3. I wonder. I wonder if it makes more sense for France to just naturally rotate the left back position. I'm not super keen on Theo, but I could be wrong. I mean, other French fans could kind of disagree, but I mean, you know, from speaking to some of the French fans I've spoken to, they kind of think it could happen on Matchday 2. Talking non-FPL related, what did you think of my Feyenoord boy Hwang In-bom? Yeah, that was a great performance, wasn't it? I just love, like, how snippy, like, his performance was. Like, I just love such proactive players. Minister Lasante, thank you so much. Following you for 4 to 5 years now. Nice to see the evolution. Appreciate that, my friend. Arrow of FX, key Verts or James Rodriguez? Probably James Rodriguez. You're doing something aggressive and crazy. We'll share in a bit. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Trying to have a look at some of the private messages from Discord. I think there is genuine doubt on Rafinha, but the problem is, like, as an owner of Rafinha, I can't really guarantee, like, keeping him, if that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people asking me questions like, for example, if I'm worried about Mbappe. Yeah, I mean, of course I'm worried about Mbappe. I said I was worried about Mbappe last week, but end of the day, I think 12 man is good enough. At least I've got half his points versus everyone at, like, technically speaking, and someone else can do well. Certainly for my team, unless he plans to score a brace every single match, which is possible. Why do I keep Sane? Because he's got scouting bonus, and Germany's expected goals versus the Ivory Coast are still very solid. Would I keep Havertz or take a -3 hit? No, I'd definitely keep Havertz. Why Mbappe 12 man instead of Vinny? I kind of wanted to just go enter. I kind of wanted enter Valencia over. Well, yeah, enter. I guess yeah, I wanted enter Valencia over Manzambi. I guess is the way that I've approached that. Like I won't really regret having enter Valencia in my team, and I think he's also a great captaincy punt. Yeah, I've got Sane too. Kane or Vinny 12th man. I probably would prefer Vinny 12th. I probably would prefer Kane 12th man. I kind of think this is still a better fixture for Vinny. So, higher ceiling captain, probably Vinny. In between Imbong, Huang, and Mecca, what do I choose? Oh, you just love kind of like more of a center mid for you. What's the thought process for a -9? I mean, I don't have a -9. Sorry, I'm kind of confused as to what you're talking about. The question on Imbong, I mean, I'd probably pick Nemeka, to be honest. I mean, if South Korea were facing versus South Africa, I'd probably say Imbong Huang, but yeah. Fran brother, I also got Manzambi. Thoughts on Laporte, Sane, Holland out for Mbappe, Vinny, the Fuji rolls. Or Sufal for a -3. I mean, Sufal seems quite nice. Still a set piece taker. To me, it kind of just feels bad, like taking Laporte out for a -3, but fair enough. I guess Mbappe Vinny is quite clear as Sane Holland, so I think it's just about worth it. I'd probably go Sufal. Holland or Vinny cap, can only choose one in my fantasy game. I would definitely choose Vinny, 100%. Best center backs for Matchday 2. I mean, for Matchday 2, I would personally just think Oliveira is a good center back. Ordonez, Pacho. But like, are we talking main game or just generally center backs? Fran, I like your content a lot. You lost my respect for glitching the system. I mean, the thing is, I didn't even intentionally glitch the system. So if I knew I was glitching the system, I would have done something aggressive. I just ended up changing my team because I wanted to like rejig the sub 5% players. If I was actually trying to rejig the system, I would actually have just done a full-on wildcard too. But all I did is basically I moved out a Japanese player versus Tunisia, which basically makes my team worse. So I'm not really sure it's glitching the system. Like if I did 3 free transfers for free and I ended up moving basically 2 Spanish players to 2 Spanish players, and then ultimately traded a Japanese attacking defender who's basically a right winger for a Canadian goalkeeper, I think that's actually negative transfers anyways. So it's, yeah, I don't know. You can state your opinion if you want. Yeah, Boa I don't think is a good pick. Just because minutes aren't great. Try not to spam chat, please, guys. Kane or Vinny 12th man, I kind of prefer Vinny, I would say. Yeah, I can have a look at the logs, Mal. Why Holland out? I mean, he's against Senegal, which I think will be very tough. Why Laporte and Llorente over Cucurella? Nothing special. I mean, I think Cucurella is ultimately better. Does Llorente still have scouting bonus? He doesn't, right? Oh, they both don't have scouting bonus. Yeah, I mean, I'm not transferring my Spanish defenders around, so I mean these are the ones that I have, unfortunately. What's a good forward for 6.8 mil? Enter Valencia. Just go cheaper. Have I enjoyed the World Cup? Yeah, I've absolutely loved it, to be honest. After the first day, I was a bit unsure, but after that, it's been amazing. Elise or Vinny? I'd probably go Vinny. 4 FTs today, Fran. I mean, I don't have 4 FTs, but Le Prof 49 took 3 hits. Kimmich, Sane, Vert, Sabitzer, Holland out for LDA. LDF, Salah, Vinny, Rafinha, Enter Valencia, Kane, 12 man. Good luck, everyone. Remember to have fun. Oh, that's pretty awesome. I mean, fair enough if you want to go full hits. I do think Germany are decent though, man. They just showed us a great performance, so it's like I would feel a bit harsh kind of selling all my German players, but I like that. It does look like I've made a load of transfers, but basically I kind of thought I was changing my team for Matchday 1, but it ended up just changing my team for Matchday 2, and I don't even know if it's for free or whether it's going to be like a -9. So we'll see what happens. I have no idea. I think anyone should keep Doan, yeah, for sure. Doan's an incredible pick. Vinny or Zabal, definitely Vinny. Is it worth taking a -3 to move Haaland onto another forward? I mean, I guess you could be moving him onto Messi or Kane. It's not really worth the -3, but I would certainly consider it. Do I think Spain will rotate in Matchday 3? It's hard to say. I don't think so, to be honest, because I still think we want to get into the top half of the bracket. We might rotate a little bit, but not massively. Like maybe like 3-4 players tops. Hits. I guess like I've basically picked 2 transfers that I think require me to not take hits, so I've done that. Yeah, Unai Simon will 100% start. I mean, there's no reason why he wouldn't. Thoughts on -9 to do Rocher, Vert, Sane, or Sabal Torres to Crepeau, Siberi, Vidi, Marmouche, Valencia. I mean, I don't love Marmouche as a pick, but I think everything else is fairly good. I wouldn't transfer out Oyarzabal personally. Fran, I think you forgot. Oh, sorry. My bad, brother. I don't think it makes sense to kind of take Rafinha out of your team. If anything, I would actually consider going Ryerson to Doan, right? Because I think O'Reilly is still class for Matchday 2. Rocher is not ideal, but I guess Galindez is like good enough for you to not use another transfer for the goalkeeper. I think you can 12-man someone, and maybe you can just go Haaland to Mbappe. I mean, have you ever considered doing that? Because I think your midfield is actually fine. You can kind of just pray Rafinha starts, which is very likely. But if you really wanted to get... Wait, or actually, did you end up going Manzambi? Sorry, I'm kind of confused. Take a screenshot of your latest team, if I've misinterpreted that. Thoughts on Portugal's performance? I mean, probably the worst big team. I still think their performance is worse than Spain's. That's not a flex, by the way, because it was pretty embarrassing. But yeah. How did I change my whole team? As I kind of explained in my team selection, like, we were live streaming on the deadline. The chat before that. I can only see one screenshot, though, right? I can respond to this. Or... because I can't see another screenshot. But basically, yeah, I was streaming on the deadline, and then it seemed like the transfers were still open. So then I just waited for the 5% thing to kind of conclude, and then just ended up changing some of my players on paper. Please don't spam in chat. So then I just changed like my 2 Spanish defenders to 2 different Spanish defenders, and I changed, I think, like Ritsu Doan into a like Crepeau, the Canadian goalkeeper. So yeah, I mean, now that I know that, I mean, technically, I mean, it depends. Like, I don't know if the game works properly, right? So it could be the case that Havertz or Oyarzabal, I mean, I would have Oyarzabal. Please stop spamming as well, Zach. But I mean, basically, I made some transfers like between 8:00 p.m. to like 8:03 p.m. So the deadline was delayed. So you could make transfers, but actually what ended up happening was that it kept your round 1 team the same. and then it made the round 2 team different. If I knew that, technically, I guess you could potentially wildcard, but I'm still waiting to find out after the deadline today whether it's going to give me like a -9, because on paper I've done 5 free transfers, but I've only done 2. JC, I don't have any cookies today. It's a bit of a shame. I'm sorry, my man. Hope you're doing well, though. Orsella, thank you much for the super chat. Vert Sani to 8.8 mid for a -3. Who, Jude, Diaz? I kind of like Jude, to be honest. I do think Diaz's game is much harder. I think after match day 1, we can probably think that, you know, I would say DR Congo looks so much better than Uzbekistan. Oh, you did Ryerson to a Swiss defender. Okay. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's the kind of approach that I would take. Like, I would personally just go Haaland out to Mbappe. If you want. Like, I don't think Enter Valencia is that good. It's just that I am backing basically like, I guess, Ecuador versus Curacao, and that's it. I mean, you can just go Haaland to Mbappe and then... Ooh, but then actually you don't have to make the Doan move. You would actually save money though, wouldn't you? Is that like Vinny level money? Because you could go Rafinha to Vinny, right? Would you ever do that though? I kind of like the 12-man Kane thing. Yeah, I like 12-man Kane and maybe go Rafinha out. That's nice. Why is my keeper my captain? Because he's just the first player in my team who plays. Doctor, did you share your team? Fireball Melker, thank you. Sell 2 of Haaland, Ryerson, Havertz. Probably Haaland and Ryerson. I'd probably go Doan plus Mbappe. That's what I would go for. KDB or Rafinha? I'd probably go KDB for like... I mean, I don't know. If Rafinha has these blisters and he really can't play football in 2 days, then that would be shocking to me. But his, I guess, importance in the Brazilian team is not the same as KDB. So I'd probably still go KDB if you wanted like maximum security as a pick. Verts or Sani, who to transfer out? I'd probably transfer out Verts and hope for the best with Sani. Scouting bonus is probably the way that I would approach it. Can you give us my 12-man order? I mean, it really just depends on what you want to go for your own team. Like it's not like I have a special preference for 12-man, but like, I mean, the 12-man order should just be like who you think is the best player in the week, right? So I think Mbappe is the best player in the week. Not that I think that means that he should be 12-man, because arguably you also want him to be captained, but I don't have the opportunity to captain him because it was a bit more convenient for me to get Vinny Jr. into my team and enter Valencia than, you know, any sort of other working order. So yeah, I mean, I would have Mbappe, then I'd probably then have Vinny, then I'd probably have Kane, then I'd probably have Messi 4th as my top 4 players in the week. And then 5, I don't know. I mean, 5 at that point, I guess, could be Elise, I would say, right? Is that a bold take? I think that probably makes the most sense, right, in terms of how I would play the fixtures. Rocher out for a -3. I think it depends on who your other goalkeeper is. I wouldn't really take a goalkeeper out for a -3 if I had someone like Galindez. I didn't realize the deadline was today until your stream came up. Oh, awesome, man. Well, you better make those moves in the next 5 minutes. Next 5 to 6 minutes, that is. right? Is that when the match is? Yeah, it's in literally like 6 minutes. Why the sudden transferring of Haaland? I mean, it's not sudden at all. I mean, we were kind of planning to transfer him out. We just thought he was the best captain in match day 1. I'm going to actually make my... I need to set up my team on... I'm going to set up my team on sport.fun, so I quickly need to do that as well. Moves are all done. Awesome, Connor. Verts or James to Elise. Who's James? Oh, is that Rodriguez? I'd probably go Verts out to Elise, personally. Vinny or Rafinha captain? I mean, I'd Vinny captain for sure. Is Doan instead of Llorente worth a -3? Not at all. I don't think it's worth a -3. Best defenders match day 2. Doan, I would say, probably top defender in my mind. Varela, very good as well. Ordonez, Hincapié, amazing picks. I think that's kind of like my top 3-4. On paper, any other Spanish defender has an extremely high floor as well. If you just want like a good baseline. So yeah, I would look into that as well. Well, I'm actually kind of confused. Lower fees. Okay, I need to make some changes in terms of my team for match day 2. Thoughts on Salah against New Zealand? I think Salah's an amazing pick, 100%. But he's a bit expensive, to be honest, for that price point. Rafinha out for a 3-point hit. I don't think it's worth it. We don't even know if he's going to be benched 100%. Lamine Yamal's a decent 12th man. I don't think I have him like top 5, top 4 in terms of like projected points for this week in my head, just because the minutes I don't think are amazing. Why do people think Haaland or Norway is same as Man City? What do you mean by that, Brian? Sorry. He's actually technically better for Norway than he is for Man City, if that makes sense. His goal ratio for Norway is like ridiculous. Subhodget, James Rodriguez to Bellingham / Saibari for -3. I don't think it's worth the -3, but if you're going to do a -3, I probably would actually go for Bellingham if you really wanted to. I just don't think it's worthwhile. Yeah, please, everyone, lock in as soon as possible because you do not want to be left holding the bag, basically. Trying to actually like choose who I want to pick. Have you guys made your picks for sport.fun yet? Link in description, by the way. I'm quickly setting up my team for match day 2 on sport.fun. So I think my forward is going to be Mbappe. Shocker. Match day 2 clean sheet odds. Probably need to actually pick Mosquera. Why any English? You mean why no English? I mean, there's no reason. I think England looked amazing. It's just I can't get everyone, and I prefer France versus Iraq, if that makes sense. What do you mean by why any English, though? Sorry. Fran Brother Rocher to Galindez for -3. I think that's worthwhile. That's probably worthwhile just for a bit of security. Have I taken any hits for match day 2? Well, I don't know. As I said, it's either going to end up as a -9 or basically no hits. Right now, I think I've taken no hits. So let's see. Right, have we locked in? Can you captain your 12 man? You can't captain your 12 man. How can you change it? You have to literally deactivate the chip and repick it. Oh, the website's down. You can make transfers or you can't. Ooh, they actually kind of shut it down. Wait, let me actually check. So has it made me take hits? No, it hasn't. Okay, that's nice, I think. Okay. So I think that was probably just a one-time thing, which obviously, if I knew in hindsight what that was, I mean, of course, I just make a wild card team, I guess. But I don't know. I'm pretty happy with my team as it stands. I would have loved to have Doan and not the Canadian goalkeeper, but, you know, it is what it is. Hopefully Rafinha starts, and that's a good team on paper still. So that's all I'm hoping for at this point. Has anyone gone for something very different in terms of... Does anyone, like, let's say, like, not, like, does anybody have, like, no Mbappe on their teams, etc.? Locked instantly this time? Yeah. You can make moves, but only for Matchday 3. I mean, they fixed it. Ooh, you're right, actually. It's because the match didn't start. You're right. No, but no. You could still make transfers when the match was still live. I remember. Because I was watching the Mexico game with... Yeah. Was Oliveira a good transfer for the Kuiper? Yeah, absolutely. That's a good transfer. I mean, I can't see why that wouldn't be. I think that's a solid transfer for sure. You could have done free 3 hits in group stages, but the problem is, like, right now, if they lock the websites, yeah. I mean, we kind of knew it was unlikely to happen again, right? I don't know, to be honest. I wasn't really planning to quote unquote cheat the system, as I said. If I knew I was cheating the system, I wouldn't have, as I said, a Canadian goalkeeper over a Japanese right winger. So that's it. Why is Verts not ranked as high as before? In terms of the cheat sheet, just fixture related, right? I mean, you're moving from a Curacao game to suddenly you're facing off versus Ivory Coast, who looks really good. So that's pretty much the only reason for that. Nothing particular, I would say. Yeah, that's kind of the approach that I would have to that. I just locked in my sport.fun team as well, so quickly shifting gears to that. I'll show you guys what I ended up with. Hopefully you guys can still see the screen. Ooh, okay. Well, let's just reframe that. Okay, that did not work. Just gotta duplicate this. Actually, you know what? Never mind. Let's just create a new screen. I ended up with this team on sport.fun. We did pretty well for match day 1. We got him. Well, we didn't get Mbappe, so that was a bit of a stinker, but congratulations to people who have Mbappe and not myself. That's the team I ended up with in the end. Fairly happy with that, to be honest. Like, Uruguayan clean sheet odds are quite high. I think not many people will pick him, so that's a nice win. Salah, I think, is a massive differential. I saw him at a price of 15. I thought it was really good. Bellingham, I was like super enthused by his performance, and I think England look absolutely amazing. Kukure, I actually own, so that's like the soft benefit. I guess he's like already in my team. Vinny, I thought was like relatively cheap compared to, let's say, Mbappe. So maybe I could still stick Mbappe in my team, but I mean, I probably should, right? But I think he's like 35, which is actually quite costly. Like, I still can't afford Mbappe technically in this team structure, from all the players. So, yeah. Let me search Mbappe. I think he's a 35 as a cost for a pick. Let me see. Yeah, he's a 35. So like that's a bit of a rough price point. Although I could get Kane. I don't know if Kane's necessarily better than Vinny. It's pretty close. But yeah, I think Salah's a pretty good steal for his price point for anyone who's like looking at making their team. Can't really offer too many other suggestions in the forward position. We can go kind of position by position as well, in terms of like shopping for the picks that we want. I'm trying to think about it now. Yeah, no, I'm pretty happy with the team actually. I'll keep it as it is. So that's gonna be me for now. Oh, sorry, I was showing it on the wrong screen. But if I view players, right, you know, it's easier to pick them if you just kind of click by position. So I look at the lone players. In terms of goalkeepers, I mean, Simon is worth it, but I don't know if he's necessarily worth the additional 10 on Muslera. When I think about clean sheet odds here, I mean, Vargas is fairly cheap. Vargas did play yesterday, right? I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah. So no concerns on him. But I think the Muslera clean sheet odds are better. Suzuki is actually not a bad pick in terms of that price point at 10. But I'd probably still pick Vargas in that case. Now, if we shift towards, let's say, the defender position, Upamecano's probably better than the Cucurella. Just about. Because I think the center backs actually get more points. But I do get shares from Cucurella, so I'm just going to keep him as it is. Jude, I think, is actually a decent price point as well. Because if I look at all the mids here, I kind of think he's better than all the 15 to 20 million priced midfielders on the list. He might not be better than any of the 25 million ones. Maybe Fede Valverde is arguably better because he's on pens as well. But I just think Jude is like such an immense attacking player. And the role that he has for England, I think, is, you know, it's acknowledged that he's actually got a good role. Did I see Saibari there, though? I think. Or did I miss that? I might be blind. No, I'm definitely blind. So scrap that for a second. And that's kind of it in terms of positions, right? So that's kind of what I did for Sport.fun. That's my World Cup fantasy team. If we kind of click back over to that. Oh, 1-0 already. Oof. Yeah, South Africa are not it. Oh, God. It's a goal and assist for players that aren't super fantasy popular, though, right? So no Sufal, no Craig Shea, no Schick as well. Someone mentioned Darida in the chat as well. South Africa already in the mud. Am I still confident in Spain going all the way? Yeah, I think so. Did you have to make paid transfers because your game week 1 post deadline moves? I need to check that now. I mean, let's refresh the page. I was told that if you refresh the website, sometimes you find out something. But if I just go in my leagues now, I don't... Okay, I'm kind of confused. Why is it not telling me how many... I mean, it says I got 86 here. It doesn't say I've got -6 or -9. Kind of want to check a league where... Yeah, so round 1, I still didn't take a hit. Round 2, it doesn't seem like I've taken a hit. Yeah, I think it's fine, actually. But they did fix the kind of bug, I suppose, this time round. So I guess you can say I got away with it. But as I said, at the same time, it's like I do think throwing away the best defender for the week for Matchday 2 was a pretty big price to pay for just making what I would call completely sideways moves. Like I was planning my moves to be match day 1 moves. I didn't know they were match day 2 moves because it said that the transfers were open for round 1. Whereas now, for example, it says like, okay, the round 3 transfers are open, but it didn't, like last week when we were on the deadline stream, it said round 1 transfers were open. So we were just waiting for the website to reset with the 5% thing. What do you think is actually the worst nation in the World Cup so far in terms of performances? Thoughts on Kane versus Salah as a 12th man? I think Kane's much better, personally. You're South Africa down 1-0. I'm sorry, Clyde. You play this game but don't know all the ins and outs yet. Yeah. You think it's Curacao? Is it also because they played versus Germany, or you think they're just generally that bad? Wait, it shows Laporte 4.9. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let me check that out. Okay. Round 2. Nah, it says Laporte's 5.4, bro. Even Upamecano went to 5%, which is a shame. England match will be uncovered stadium. It's supposed to... Yeah, well, that's the interesting thing, right? Because obviously the English played super well, but then they now play in heat, which we'll see how they do in the second half. God, Tunisia were bad, 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 bad. South Africa are up there as well. Are we forgetting any nations? I'm trying to think. For you, you've got a -9. But sorry, like, big man, did you take a -9, or did you do the same thing as me where you did some transfers between 8 to 8:03 p.m.? I don't see the -9. Maybe I just need to refresh the website. Are you suggesting they're kind of playing... Yeah, Tunisia were very disappointing. Refresh. Oop and Laporte both 4.9 on your screen. Is that on the mobile or... Oh, man, big man. The thing is with my team, my team, I made some transfers. There was a bug, basically. I made my transfer between the Why is South Africa shooting from like a million miles out? Big man, it's because my team, I made some transfers like between 8 to 8:03 from the previous deadline, like PM time. And that's the main thing. Like, it didn't cost me transfers for whatever reason. Thank you. It's okay to miss the deadline. That probably just means that you work in Europe, I guess, maybe. It's back to 5.4. Yeah, I think I just refreshed my page already. To be honest, I kind of think South Africa will still score in this game. Is it a hot take? Can you make transfers during the game week? Yeah, but it would only impact match day 3. 4.9? Let me refresh the page. I mean, it's probably some type of bug, right? Yeah, Laporte says 5.4 to me. Urenta says 5.3. Upamecano says 5. Wait, I'm so sorry, Doctor. Where did you share your team? Oh, you shared your team like at the last minute. I'm sorry. The thing is, when I stream, I don't get notifications on Discord because there's a setting for streamers that just kind of mutes notifications. Otherwise, it's like you just get a lot of sounds. Or you can get spammed, of course, by random people when you're streaming. So you done Kimmich, Sane, Oyarzabal, Havertz. Why have you done Oyarzabal out, my friend? Varela, Yamal, Messi, Valencia. I do like that team. Nice. You really took Oyarzabal out and you kept Cristiano in, bro. We need to talk. We need to talk right now. You got 4.9 for both. I mean, how are we getting different numbers? Can you guys refresh your page as well? Oh, I see what you guys mean. If you click on Laporte in MD selection, it says 4.9. If you click on round 3 and then look at the percentage, ooh, is that different then? Is that different? So MD selection is different to what, like the round 3? I'm confused. So I need to understand what's going on. So what gives scouting bonus, right? Let me show you guys something. So basically what people are saying, right, is if you click into Laporte, okay, this is not helpful because obviously I've not resized. I need to just resize the screen again. L. So if you see like, okay, this is my screen, right? So Laporte, oh my God. I just messed that up. Well, Laporte anyway says 4.9 ownership if you click on him. But if you go to round 3 and then you like hover by his percentage selected, it's 5.4%. So that's, I think, what people are kind of talking about in terms of, is there something weird going on? I mean, what do you guys think is going to drive the MD is locked? It was like that last week. L Fran. What does that mean? Why do I have the L? Click on round 3. Yeah, no, that's what I said. Imagine not taking the -3. I mean, what was I supposed to do with the -3 in my team? Triple Ivory Coast Matchday 3 defense. Yeah, I mean, in another game that I'm playing where there's no wild cards up until like Matchday 4 on paper, I'm doing I think double Ivory Coast defense, and so like the goalkeeper and Gueledue, and then I'm also in Kessie, just because it's like that game doesn't have auto sub, so I already pre-planned, let's say, an Ivory Coast bench. Why is all my differentials from last week now above 5%? Game's the game, my friend. I mean, also we were picking players who were like 4.7%, right? So what actually gives scouting bonus is just, but what I'm saying is like, what gives scouting bonus? Is it the match day selection, or is it the round 3 selection that looks like an overall ownership? Why didn't Soufal get the scouting bonus for match day 1? Because I'm pretty sure he conceded 2 goals, so he only got 4 points, right? All your players are going up. I mean, that's usually a good thing, not a bad thing. So I think enjoy that. South Korea's keeper versus South Africa is 0.3 selected and 4.1 mil. Yeah, but I guess like, I mean, we're all going to wild card, so that's going to massively change ownerships, right? So kind of no point looking at it now. Valencia is 4% on match day 2 compared to 2.5 on match day 3, so MD2 is right. I guess so. But what I'm more so confused with is like what's, yeah, I guess what match day ownership is better. So hopefully Laporte does get scouting bonus is what we're saying. Yeah, I don't really know what is the happening. Right. Take care, doctor. Works better than the website. Good luck, my friend. Good luck with Cristiano Ronaldo as well, of course. I think that's pretty bold. No, I'm just messing with you. Gonna go James and O'Reilly for match day 3. Do you think they'll actually both start though? Don't you think maybe he could just like start Spence and rotate a bit? Helvetia is 5.3. It was literally 3.7. Kind of confused like how he's gone up. Nico Jackson will cook. I mean, he'll cook with offside goals. That's what he does. I'm guessing some people may have wildcarded. But I think it might be a case of like they're looking at I don't really know even like if you let's say I'm not sure to be honest. Hard to say. Oh, you like yeah, I guess wildcard makes a difference. You already have wildcard active for match day 3. Thanks, M.97. You thought Helvetia was safe because he didn't score well match day 1. Galinda 6.3. Yeah, I mean, what can you do? Hydration break. Cannot GK almost lost scouting. Yeah, so we just about got it. I forgot the notification, Joe. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I set up my stream super late. Diomande, Mane, Hakimi are some names you're thinking match day 3. Yeah, Diomande looks great. Hakimi looks great. I don't know about Mane personally, but of course he is against Iraq. Scouting bonus is more than 4 points. Yeah, that's correct. It's 5 plus. 5 and plus, basically. Yeah, we got fairly lucky with that, if I'm honest. Your differentials are Valencia. Yeah, Valencia, I really hope he pops off for us. That can be a great differential. What do you think about BIH versus Swiss? I think Switzerland should be I mean, Switzerland should really smash that game. My personal opinion, but I could be wrong. You got what I mean? And what do you think about that game? What did you guys actually go with for your sport.fun picks at the end of the day? Courtois, Ordonez, De Bruyne, Mbappe, Kappen, or Zabal. It looks good. You just made a Matchday 3 wild card, and you've got... Yeah, because the Ivory Coast players are super cheap, right? I mean, yeah, we're going to triple up on Ivory Coast. We will be there. Let's just say that. Most likely round 32 matches. I mean, we'll revisit that in the literally in the next match day, right? Fun. Ooh, so Rob T basically just responded to me. He says that Laporte is showing as 4.9 selected for the round 2 in the API. The round 1 is equivalent is what was used for players in match day 1. So I think this is what he's saying, right? So he says, so I think he'll be SB eligible for the Saudi Arabia game, basically. Simple system. So Laporte is probably going to be great. Correction, Valencia over Orzabal. Mexico versus Canada possibility too if Korea and Swiss win today. Yeah, I see your point. Do you know what is likely your MD3 wild right now, my friend? I do not know. I really like you kind of just need to wait until like and see like if there's any bigger results, right? Because you kind of need to monitor that. Right, guys. So basically, you should click into your player and then find out what's going on. That's the way to kind of determine. So for example, if I go to round 2, right? What we're basically saying is, sorry, layout was poor. But what we're basically saying is if you click into Crepeau, this ownership is the one that's going to drive his scouting bonus. So Laporte has scouting bonus. Llorente does not have scouting bonus. Upamecano has scouting bonus. Kimmich doesn't, obviously. Vinny doesn't. Rafinha doesn't. Sane does. Elise doesn't. Okay. Bruno doesn't. Sanchez still does. Galindez does not. Crepeau does. So yeah, I've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I forgot to click on my man Enter Valencia. Sorry, so let's just start again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 scouting bonus players in my team at the end of the day, by the end of match day 2. I should actually put fought mob on, right? So you guys can just like track the game as well on the side. Probably need to adjust the screen again. I think I had Czechia as my third place team in this group. So far the predictions like going well-ish. Um, hmm. But I do wonder if this match, oh, pretty harsh foul there, man. That was pretty disgusting. How many points did I do in match day 1? 86. How am I doing in other formats? Pretty good. Rafinha's injured. What do you mean, like the toe blisters, or like is there another Brazilian news piece of Brazilian news on Rafinha's injury? Ener Valencia has a terrible goal assist per 90. Are you not taking that into account? I mean, of course I've taken that into account, but he plays for Curacao. He's playing Curacao. Am I doing the Solio wildcard prediction game? World Cup, sorry. No, I'm not playing it at all. I mean, is there money to be won? Yeah, I mean, on fan team type games, I'm kind of in the profit with my. I mean, I didn't have enough time to kind of submit multi-entry teams, so I just have the one team, and most of my teams are close to the profit threshold. So hopefully we'll do well in the next few stages and we'll be fine. As far as, yeah. I mean, if we went by goals assists per 90, I guess we'd pick Cristiano Ronaldo in our teams, right? Should I have gone from Verts and Kimmich to Sufal and Salah for -6? Absolutely not. No, I would have kept both players, literally. I mean, at the end of the day, Valencia starts up top for Ecuador, right? And he's against Curacao, so hopefully he can do something. That's pretty much all I'll say on that. His national team record's pretty good. Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like I'm not hugely fond of doing prediction games because I just don't really have the time. I did do one of my friends' ones, but that had a prize pool, so that's kind of why I did it. XG predictor, bro. You might as well start doing Asian lines if you're actually into something like that. Although, yeah. So of course, like if you're asking me, am I actively like doing Asian lines? I am. Why is Vinny the only player in the game with a photo with a rectangle behind him? Ooh, okay, I didn't even notice that. Let me have a look. Yeah, I see what you mean. I mean, it seems like they just kind of messed up the background layer. It's also a bit weird that, like, I don't know, that they've angled the player a little bit to the left. We're only putting score predictions for each match on the FIFA app for these World Cup games. People love score prediction apps. It's just like it's like almost impossible to win. So it's like, am I gonna bother? But I don't really mind doing like singles, like on lines that I think are kind of like wonky. Verts also is a rectangle. You need to click off the app. Well, or no, yeah, everyone has a small rectangle. Yeah, because the shading is different. Yeah. Sane has a rectangle-ish. Everyone kind of has a rectangle. Yeah, I can see the rectangle. It's just that Vinny's one is more obvious. It's a different shading of gray. Yeah. Every player has a different shading of gray. I'm enjoying this more than the Czechia South Africa game. No, I'm kidding. Let's get back. Ooh, could have been an interesting shot. Mbappe's is clear. Like perfectly clear? Let me check your eye test, Joe. Oh, you mean a clear rectangle? Yeah, of course. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Davinson Sanchez is a pretty harsh one as well. This is not what we should be spending our time on, though. Different shades of gray, like 50. Okay. You got me. One like equals one respect for that one. Waiting for them to replace scouting bonus with background bonus. Haha. That's a terrible joke, Joe. Terrible. What is going on in South Africa? That is good passing out the back. Oh, so tired. I must go to bed in a bit. Michael Olise has deleted all his Instagram posts related to Bayern Munich. Is that true? Is that actually true? I need to check if that's real or I've been trolled. Michael Olise, Instagram. Olise. Ooh, he has. I'd love to see it. If we sign Olise, I actually might be a happy man. Might be the best summer ever. Hopefully, if Spain doesn't ruin it. Am I in UTC +1? Yeah, it's just I haven't slept much the last few days, obviously. I need a nap, basically, and I need to sleep later. He actually did delete everything. He's gonna Eintracht. Did you guys have the match day selection ownership negatively affect you? Does Real Madrid have a lot of depth because they're spending big? I don't think so. I think we did quite well during COVID managing a lot of uh our kind of loss profile because we sold Hakimi as well to kind of stay within profit, I believe. And I think we've made some good deals. Like if you look at Victor Munoz, for example, that's technically a 20 million close to pure profit sale, right? With the sell-on fee. So we have that. I think we're probably anticipating to sell Camavinga. And then in theory, our wage room should be a lot better. Wage bill, sorry. With Alaba and Ceballos and who else do we have that has huge wages that's going? I think that's it. Carvajal, I suppose, yeah. I'm not sure if he had gigantic wages. This is technically a watch along now, yeah. Maybe I'll just edit the name of the stream. No, I can't be bothered. We are now watching along. Any news about Rafinha? I mean, the only news that he's got blisters on his feet. I mean, if he doesn't recover from blisters on his feet in 2 days, then I'm reporting him to the police. I mean, he must. He's going to Frankfurt has killed me. Do I play League? I do, yeah. Why, do you play League as well, Joe? I used to play League seriously. I play it very recreationally now, like maybe once a month. And I quit for like around 4 years. I used to play StarCraft, actually. That's the game I used to love. And I used to play a game called Urban Terror, which was a Quake mod. I played Valorant for a bit too. Is blisters considered an injury? No, that's why I'm not being serious. The deadline has passed, my friend, K7. I'm really sorry to say you have missed it. Yeah. You quit last year. Masters Shaco OTP. I mean, what's wrong with you, bro? Fair enough, though. That's really impressive. I used to play. I mean, I am now very bad. As a player, I think I'm like literally just a plat, like mid plat player. But back in the day, I was like Diamond 2 when there was no Masters and no grass. No, yeah, no Masters, no Grandmasters. So like only Challenger. Or was it? I think there was Master, but no Grandmaster certainly. I feel like Master came late as well. Yeah, so I was D2 for a bit when it was kind of like 0.000 something percentile. But yeah, I'm a very washed player. And my main account got permabanned, so that's part of the reason why I quit. So I used to have a lot of like great skins from tournaments because I used to play in uni for uni tournaments, but yeah. I played Valorant a bit, so I got to Ascendant on that. But I was mostly good at StarCraft 2. And in StarCraft 2, I was a GM, which is equivalent to Challenger. What city am I from? Hong Kong, technically. But my half of my family's from Spain, from Madrid. Or Madrid. I'm a Thresh slash Maokai 2 trick. Oh, support main, yeah? That's pretty good. I do like playing Maokai. I haven't played Thresh in a minute, but that's a fun champ. What city am I from? I used to just play Flex every year just because, like, for my uni team, I was kind of the in-game leader. So I would just change roles, kind of like C9 High, if you remember. Obviously, a very budget version of that. But I would just change roles just to kind of accommodate, whatever quality players we had. My chip strategies, well, I've already done my 12-man Matchday 2, and I'm going to do a Matchday 3 wild card. What did I play? In terms of roles, or I play literally everything. Like right now, I think I'm more of a jungle support main because I kind of just prefer roaming and like doing stuff that's stupid. But when I was in diamond, like high diamond, I was an ADC main. I also played mid Corki a lot. If you guys remember the era where it was like just Corki Azir nonstop, so I played a lot of Corki there. Uh, and I personally think I can flex support at like even up to a very high level because that role is not that difficult in my opinion until like a lot higher, where at some point it's like you should be carrying lane, you should be carrying a lot of the game as a support. But like in the lower elos, it's like the G support players are so bad. When Corki was hybrid APAD, trying to think. I think so. Yeah. I mean, I just recall that his scaling was busted. I can't really quite remember going AP items on Corki. Like it was still a very conventional build from what I remember. Like it's just like Triforce, all that kind of stuff. What's the advantage of wildcard match day 3 over round 16? Well, basically from the playoffs onwards, you get more transfers every single week. So the advantage of a wildcard match day 3 is you can kind of wait for the match day 2 results to kind of accumulate, and then just effectively some teams I think will lock down first place in their group. So they will probably massively rotate. And that's the benefit of that, especially when you only have 2 free transfers every single week. You probably won't be able to maximize that. I've also been planning my transfers where my team, well, all of my team basically has poor match day 3 fixtures. So the advantage is I've already set up for that. But yeah, you have more transfers in the playoffs, so you're not really hurt by, you know, teams like players getting knocked out. You can just replace them as well, like quite easily with like I would say little to no cost. I mean, League was so different back then as well. Rip the permaban. I mean, the thing is, like in League, I don't think I was even that aggressive. It's more just like I was the type of person who would flame in chat, but just more like what are you doing? But like I'd say it like 100 times, as opposed to sort of like any extremely like derogatory remarks. It's just like, you know. But yeah, obviously I wasn't super happy playing League. I'll be honest. I preferred games like StarCraft, right? StarCraft was just a one-on-one game, and so I have no one to blame in a team game like that. I think part of the frustration for me was because I would play in university tournaments, I would in-game lead. It's a lot easier when people are listening to you and you're communicating and you're actually trying to work together. Whereas when you're playing solo queue, I mean, everyone just thinks they're right. So it's like immensely frustrating for me, and sort of, I guess, my personality type. I kind of like being more of a communicative leader or a decision maker in a team, right? So yeah, obviously that was frustrating. But yeah, in StarCraft 2 it was probably the best I've ever been at a game. So yeah. Like even on the Korean server, I was a master because I used to play in Southeast Asia when I was based in Hong Kong. So I mean, I was basically, yeah, Korean master. Very similar to what that rank means in League. Oof, South Africa could have scored. I can imagine you feel the same way about chess as well, because obviously, like, and I think that probably motivates you to improve more. I mean, I have to be honest, like me not playing as a one trick pony in League also kind of, I think, stagnated a lot of my development, because it was just like, I was kind of like playing to win games as opposed to trying to improve in the game and actually build my understanding of the game up. I think I had good macro understanding, but probably like things like matchups, understanding how to like play my champions to the limit, or even understand like what enemy champions like do in terms of the micro, was probably quite poor relative to my level. So yeah. 12th manned Mbappe over Kane so I can captain Kane at least. I think that's fine. I don't think Kane is massively far off from Mbappe. Oh, that's half time. I mean, right now I play FPL, so I also play offshoots of fantasy. So I play fan team, but only the season long. So I don't play dailies. I don't really play any other games right now. I play FIFA recreationally, but not at a super high level. I'm only like basically a Div 1 player, I think. Yeah. I played a lot of random champs until honed in unengaged supports and got better. Yeah, like I think one tricking, two tricking is like a huge difference in terms of improvement. Like it's ridiculous. But that way he's an extra captain option. Yeah, because you have Elise. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. The only thing I'd say though, right, like the only thing that can really hurt us is we all know that everyone is collectively making a transfer towards Mbappe. So of course you know that 60 to 70% chance you are going to go up against Mbappe captain. So if he like goes nuclear, then that is going to hurt you like massively, right? From a risk profile perspective. But from an expected value perspective, of course, it's amazing. You get another extra role in the captaincy, and that is smart. I agree. Are you going to start maybe planning FPL when fixture dates get released tomorrow? I mean, I can do a fixture difficulty rating tracker if you want me to, if I must. Wildcard 3, thoughts for best picks. Wildcard 3, thoughts for best picks. I mean, I don't have a specific idea on best picks, but let's just get started, right? I think Yan Diomande is kind of nailed, but he's a forward, so that's slightly problematic. But he does play Curacao. Let me just look at the fixtures. I mean, we're gonna have some Moroccans in the team. I can tell you that now. We might still have Brazilians, depending on how they play versus Haiti and how we feel about them. We will probably have 3x. I mean, not even. We will 100% have 3x Ivory Coast. We'll have 3x Netherlands. We will have England players versus Panama. I can't say who those England players are because they could be rotating. We'll have Belgian players versus New Zealand. And we'll have Argentina players versus Jordan. That I can guarantee you. Anything else? I'm not sure. Belgium, oh, of course, sorry. Yeah, Belgium versus New Zealand as well. So yeah, KDB is probably going to be in my team there. I think that's it from a general perspective. Maybe, of course, there are some big guns. Like, for example, let's say if let's say the problem is like Messi and Kane and Mbappe can do super well, and then I guess like technically they're like they might not be nailed on for Matchday 3, right? I do think that Mbappe is chasing greatness in terms of World Cup goals, though. Whereas Messi's probably going to be okay with taking a rest, if that makes sense. Like, do you guys generally agree with that opinion? Do you think Mbappe is more likely to start Matchday 3 than Messi, even if they go 6 points up in their respective groups? 3 mil mastery points in Jaco. I mean, yeah, like for context, I don't think I have more than like 100 something mastery points on anyone, like maybe like 89. So I'm very lax, and obviously I don't play as much, and like the time for me to grind stuff is kind of gone. Yeah, I mean, similar to you, it's like, I mean, FPL has become sort of my side hobby to me just being a full, like, I mean, someone who works full time. So like, what can I really do? Do you know when the FPL game will be opened? I'm not sure, but I think they tend to probably wait for the World Cup to kind of do its thing. So I can't really imagine that they'll open the game in conflict with the World Cup, because it's just not going to, like, launching the game whilst the World Cup is still open is probably going to make for a pretty unsuccessful thing. Any achievement for Messi going forward is a plus, is surplus. No, that's what I mean. Like, I think Messi has nothing to prove, basically. That's what I mean. Like, I think he will rest if he can, right? Like, if it's a luxury that can be afforded to him, I think he'll take the rest, a little bit of it at least. Because you have to remember, last World Cup they also lost their first game, so they kind of had pressure. I mean, I don't even think Messi's really like the type of player who like needs to play every 3 games to like keep his form, right? So that's what I mean by like, yeah, if you can rest him for like an extra 3 days, I mean, why not? I mean, yeah, Messi literally has nothing to prove. You've got Kane and Mbappe. Which score should we get to not go with them for captain? I mean, we're probably talking about literally like at least like 10, 11 points. Like the threshold is so high with the standard of quality that we have. Do you get another wild card after the groups? Yeah, you basically get a reset, and the budget goes to 105 million. He walks around the pitch. Does he need rest? I mean, he walks around the pitch, but he still runs. He still was defending in versus Algeria. So it's like, it's not like he just stands there and doesn't defend. Like, he still defends. I'm fairly certain he at least won 2 tackles that I can remember, and of course stamped on someone, which we all know. Let me have a look at Messi. Messi had 2 tackles. Perfect memory. Well done, Fran. Yeah, solid. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that is that all. Like, do you guys think that's always a red card? I really don't know. I don't think so. I didn't think much of it at the time watching it live, to be honest. But then when you watch the replay, it's obviously like, oh wow, is that a red? Am I getting messed in the wild card? That's the thing. I don't even know if he's going to start wild card 3. I'll probably have him for my wild card when it comes to, like, say, match day 4, though, like in terms of just my team. Kind of crazy South Africa lost to a throw-in. Also, what was the right wing back doing? Oh, God. If a South African does it, it's red card. I guess. The situation with ownerships, basically when you click on your player there and you click into him, like you just like click the drop down, it says his matchday selection ownership. And that matchday selection ownership corresponds to the scouting bonus of that week. So if you go to round 2 and you click into the player, like if I click into Laporte now and I see that his matchday selection ownership is 4.9%, he's got scouting bonus, right? If I go to round 3 and I click on Laporte now, he's got 5.4% match. So technically he would not qualify for scouting bonus in match day 3. But that's the thing. Upamecano, same thing there. He's going to get scouting bonus for match day 2. I hope that kind of clears it up. Not that I think that they've designed this well, but I think that is how I think I would describe it. By the way, I'm sorry guys. I'm probably gonna head off for a bit. I need to kind of prepare to, I think, take like the fastest power nap of all time before Switzerland and Bosnia. But yeah, much love to you all. Thank you guys so much for joining the stream again, and I'll see you soon. Thanks, Cole.